There's not much advertising money going around right now. So everybody's suffering during the pandemic. And I can tell you that I've been cut financially by 2/3. So that's a lot to lose in this time frame. So I'm right there with you. Those of you that are suffering financially, I'm right there with you. It sucks. And I just want this to be over at some point. Advertising revenue is going to be the last to come back. So I'm not expecting that the ad revenue is going to pick up anytime soon. I was able to apply for a PPP loan and for the small business relief loan to get me through because, obviously being cut 2/3 financially is pretty devastating. It's alarming, right? So I do want to mention the process of going through of getting some of that pandemic money. It's really kind of a sham. So they approved me for an amount of money. And the problem is that, you have to pay this back. So I didn't qualify for very much when it came to the amount of money that's forgivable, because some of it, if you use it for payroll, is forgivable. I don't have much of a payroll, so I didn't qualify for much of that. So what they gave me instead was this loan. And they're giving a lot of people these loans. And it's like, so we're in a pandemic. The government has caused, along with this virus, the government has caused for the economy to completely crash. They then tell us that they're going to help us. But the way they help us is they give us these loans that we have to pay back with interest to the banks. So for example, a $50,000 loan, if you take out a $50,000 loan, which most small businesses are going to need more than that, have to ultimately pay back the government a total of $83,000. That's outrageous. That means the banks are running off like bandits during this pandemic. Why is there any interest at all on these small business loans when we're in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of a crisis? Why is 3.75% interest seems like it's low, but not when you're forced to take out a loan because your business is crashing because the government has forced you into this crash. That is absurd. These loans should be completely forgivable, or they should have no interest whatsoever on the loans. To charge some small business $83,000 for taking out $50,000 because it's a 30-year loan over the course of time is criminal. That's criminal. We should all be very upset about this. So, the wealthy are getting wealthier. This is a major wealth heist. The rich are getting richer. The poor are getting poorer. They're screwing over small businesses. After the 2008 crash of the economy, the small business sector for mom and pop small businesses shrunk by, I believe it was 5 or 10%. I think it shrunk in total. I think it shrunk 15%, but 5% came back. There was a lot of businesses closed down, but then other people started businesses. And so it did kind of come back by about 5%. But I think we saw an overall contraction of 10%. When you go back 100 years, the mom and pop business sector of the economy was, like 80% of the economy or 70% of the economy was mom and pop shops. That has slowly dwindled through time. More and more corporations have taken over. Fewer and fewer mom and pop shops still exist and small businesses still exist. Now, many of us are in this sort of freelancer gig economy. And the economy, when people talk about the economy, and I've talked about this before during this pandemic, the economy is not the capitalists and Wall Street. That's not the economy. That is a shallow understanding of what an economy is. The economy is you and me. You and me. We're the economy. The mom and pop shops, the people that, your neighbors who have their own dry cleaning business or have their own massage therapy business or whatever it might be. That is the economy. That's the backbone of the American economy. So I just wanted to vent a little bit that the rich are getting richer during this pandemic. I'm really upset that I have to go into debt in order to survive. And that's all of us. I have friends who did not have a small business, so they didn't need to take out a small business loan. They did get some unemployment, but guess what? They're in rent debt now. So now they owe the landlord 3-4 months of rent. Everybody's gone into debt. I mean, this is absurd. Everybody's in debt now. So I'm feeling it. You're feeling it. We're all feeling it. It's pretty bad. Now the government, they have unveiled their plans The GOP wants to cut the unemployment down to $200 a week from where it's been at 600 a week. They want to keep the second round of stimulus checks to where they were the first time around. Basically, they're ready for 28 million people to foreclose and become evicted and be homeless. I mean, look, this is going to create a ripple effect that is going to crash down. We all know that our overhead is our largest expense for businesses, for homeowners, for renters, for all of us. It's our overhead, where we live, where we operate. That is our biggest expense. And the government has done absolutely nothing to help us with our overhead expenses. If I didn't have the overhead expense, I wouldn't have needed to take out the loan. So the overhead expense for me is the vast majority of my bills, like most of us.